Hey everybody, Matthew from Goblin Pile here. This is the last of the videos that I'm filming for the 5 Origins Planeswalkers. They're the ones that you guys have the earliest access to, and they are also the most affordable at something like 50 or 60 crystals a piece. That's the yellow ones. The yellow ones are crystals. So, Chandra herself, I don't necessarily care for her. I think she's probably at the bottom of those 5, simply because she can burn through her hand very quickly, and unless you have means of continually drawing extra cards every turn, you're in trouble. As far as her abilities, we're going to go down those real quick. So at 6 loyalty, you have Flame Shot. This deals 4 damage to your opponent, and you destroy 1 block of 3/3 gems. Then you have Scorching Strike at 9 loyalty. Deal 4 damage to all of your opponent's creatures. And then for 21 loyalty, you have Fireball. Deal 25 damage to your opponent and destroy 2 blocks of 5/5 gems. So the second ability is the one that I tend to lean towards. I think it's... I like to hold on to that, at least for this deck I'm going to show you guys, because it's kind of an emergency button. And then that first and third abilities, the first and the ultimate there, they will come into play, and they are not entirely one-offs, because they can trigger more loyalty on the board by cascading, and they also can trigger some draw that I have built into this deck. So the deck itself was inspired by Opera SM in the From the Ashes Coalition family. I have taken a deck of his and kept 8 cards and added 2 of my own instead. So Omnath, Locus of the Royal, is the focus of this deck. Is a 6/6 elemental for 16 mana from Core Set 2020 or M20. When this creature enters the battlefield, it deals damage to target opposing creature or planeswalker equal to the number of elementals and elemental reinforcements you control. Then, whenever a land support enters the battlefield under your control, your first elemental gets 3/3, +3/+3. Then, if you control 2 or more land supports or land support reinforcements, draw a card. The first ability there is one little bit of synergy I've got in this deck that focuses with that, but for the most part, we cared about the second portion, all those land cards. This is a Gates deck, so there's a heavy land component involved. And every time we play one, it's going to trigger that second ability. So, without further ado, moving into the lands. Gateway Plaza. At 10 mana, this is an uncommon. When the support enters the board, drain 4 mana from your hand. If you can't, the support loses 1 shield. Then at the beginning of your turn, convert 2 gems to your Planeswalker's colors for each gate you control up to 6. And Gateway Plaza itself being a gate, we have 5 others in here. So you have the Boros, the Gruul, the Izzet, and the Rakdos. All of those can convert to red or their alternate color, the guild-specific colors there, up to a total of 5 for each gate and gate reinforcement at the beginning of your turn. So it's going to end up generating a ton of loyalty for us, which is really good. The gates themselves, the guild gates rather, they're pretty flimsy and tend to get destroyed a lot. But I've tried to address that, and I'll go over that card in a moment, with a different card, and I'll go over that card in a moment. Then into the spells, there are only 2. We have Beacon Bolt here. Deal damage to any target equal to the total number of spells in your graveyard. It also has Jumpstart, and as I have, for some reason, since this is after the release of the Theros Beyond deck that I'm filling Beyond Death set when I'm filming this right now, I don't know why, but all the Jumpstart cards have been given Buried as well, so that's interesting. So it also triggers as though it is a card with Buried. Anyway, Beacon Bolt itself is a powerhouse of a card, and it is kind of, I think, driving a lot of the meta, at least amongst my own teammates of late. It's very easy to just wreck somebody in a turn or 2 using Beacon Bolt if you have the right cards and the right setup to go along with it. But for this case, we've got Invent. Yes, it's a 2-sided card, and Invert is there, but I would argue it's completely pointless, especially in this deck. I'd never cast it. I always, if ever I include this card in any deck, I use the Invent side for 9 mana. It's an uncommon. Pick one of the next 3 spell cards from your library, fetch that card, and then destroy the others. Repeat this process. So what that comes down to is you're going to look at the first 6 spells in your library, and as we only have 2, it's these 2 here. Those are the only 2 you'll ever see. So you always want to pick 1 Beacon Bolt and 1 Invent, so that you can continue that process. Otherwise, what this ends up doing is filtering out all the spells in your deck and leaving your deck top heavy with supports and creatures, and it'll make it much more difficult to draw into Beacon Bolt there, which is the primary removal source we have. Moving on to Destructive Digger. Whenever an artifact or land you control is destroyed, draw a card. So he's a 9 mana common for 3/2. As I mentioned earlier, the gates tend to blow themselves up or be blown up quite frequently because they're rather flimsy. And Destructive Digger is in here as a way to try to address that. It will help me replenish my hand while he's out there, which keeps the game flowing in my favor. And then finally we have Mask of Immolation. This is the one I mentioned at the very beginning, has a little bit of support or a little bit of synergy with Omnath. When the support enters the board, create 2 fleeting elemental tokens. They are 1/1s with haste. Whenever your first creature dies or loses a reinforcement, this support deals 2 damage to your opponent's planeswalker. So that is the deck. All right, let's move on to the fight. Even with the adjustments I've made, I think this deck is a little inefficient. It relies a bit too much on Omnath being pulled in your opening hand. Oh, look, there he is. That's cool. It relies a little bit too much on what just happened to me to be successful. It comes down to luck, and I don't like to deal with luck when I'm playing. I would much rather play and have it be about my own skills in building the deck, and how that plays out in the actual matches. So I cast Omnath, I cast a land. He's gonna... Oh, I'm shocked. He didn't try to attack my land. That's amazing. And then I dealt some damage to the guy. So I think what I'm going to do here is go with the Guild Gate again, and then Mask, and then another Omnath. Yeah, and we're going to... How can we do this? If I go blue to white, and then I get some loyalty out of that. Let's do that, because that'll help me out the most right now. Blue and white. Oh, but then I gave him a match 5. That's really annoying. But now I can use my my second ability, which is kind of, like I said, it's that good old-fashioned emergency button that you want to have around. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll go ahead and kill that guy. I was hoping to be able to do it using Omnath's ability, but that didn't quite play out how I'd hoped. So we will go for red, get another gate out. Ooh, nice. Nice Cascade. That's awesome. Awesome. So yeah, this is not quite the norm for this deck. As I mentioned, it tends to play a little less consistently. Definitely not like this every time. So that being the case, I'm a little surprised that I'm doing so well. It's nice. Yeah. I'll do that, and then I kind of set him up there, which is really annoying. I hate doing that. What's he gonna do? Yep, that's what I thought. Ugh. Oh my goodness. What is he? Good Lord. I don't even know what's happening. Part of that's my fault because I like to play without the visual spoiler on the when I'm playing. So let's see what he cast. Oh, Midnight Clock, Herald of the Pantheon, Serum Powder, Herald of the Pantheon. I wonder what he just drew into for 22 mana. That's interesting to me. Well, nothing for it, I guess. We'll just go and we'll cast another Omnath. Dig out his stupid little guy there. Herald of the Pantheon. Beat some face. And then keep on trucking. 22 mana. What did he snatch out of his deck there? Well, he just cast it, whatever it was. Oh, it was a Great Hinge. Yeah, that's okay. I'm alright with that. That's not a big deal. Let's go ahead and deal some damage like that. And then what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go red into black and try to work on my invent invert here after these gates come out. Yeah, that's good. Awesome. Get a little extra beef on my Omnath. Help him swing for lethal next turn, and that'll be the match, barring any unforeseen craziness. He's going to cast his ultimate up it. Oh, he didn't. That's crazy. Why would you do that? Huh. I really expected his ultimate to come out. All right, well, we don't need to belabor the point. We're going to just go ahead and win. But I just wanted to say that is how the deck plays. That is one strategy you can use to try to win with Chandra. And it's worth noting, Omnath doesn't have to be the only land, doesn't have to be the card that you put in there. There are probably other creatures that are out there, especially with the new set coming, that you can use, which care about lands. So, yeah, that's the deck. Let me know what you guys think. Likes, comments, subscriptions, all that jazz. Thanks a lot.